The 9 Stages of Spiritual Self-Realization, Part 2. And should you choose to devote yourself to the ongoing journey of self-realization, you will develop a tremendous sense of respect for who you really are. It is only then that you will come to appreciate the full depth of meaning in the advice, "This above all, to thine own self be true." Michael A. Singer. As I mentioned previously, self-realization is not so much one great big moment as it is a gradual process of spiritual unfoldment. However, it must be noted here that for some people, self-realization does come as one big moment. But for the vast majority of us, it's a slow and steady process. Below you'll find the 9 stages of spiritual self-realization, from the beginning of the journey, all the way to the end. Please note that self-realization is not necessarily, and often isn't, a linear process. We often experience a spiral of blossoming and transformation, and it's common to move forward and backward along this 9-stage journey. Here are the 9 stages of spiritual self-realization. 1. Self-awareness. What is self-awareness? Self-awareness is when we become aware of ourselves, from an ego-based standpoint, and how we interact with the world. Those who are self-aware move away from their previous psychological ignorance, also commonly referred to as being asleep, and into greater self-consciousness. This gaining of sudden self-awareness can be a painful and humbling period as it tends to illuminate many of our harmful thoughts, habits, choices, and ways of relating to the world. And typically, we don't like what we see. Thus, we either numb ourselves out of denial or enter the path of self-growth, also known as the spiritual path. 2. Self-exploration. After the shock of awakening to more self-awareness, we are driven by the desire to explore ourselves more. This is the journey of self-exploration in a nutshell. Self-exploration is fueled by a mixture of curiosity, "Who am I really?" and dissatisfaction, "I can't believe I did/said/believed that." We want to find out more about personalities and understand our authentic place in life. Self-exploration often occurs in the middle world, the realm of everyday life, and the purpose of it is to uncover how we think, feel, and behave. To get answers, we seek to gain knowledge and understanding of ourselves through books, workshops, films, courses, therapists, teachers, personality tests, and other psychological and spiritual practices. 3. Self-discovery. Once we start dabbling in the world of self-exploration, we eventually experience self-discovery, which is what happens when we dig underneath the surface of our egos. Self-discovery occurs when we move from the what to the why. While the previous stage, self-exploration, deals with what we like/feel/do/think, self-discovery deals with why we like/feel/do/think everything that emerges inside of us. In this stage, it's common to begin various forms of inner work that get to the root of our core selves. 4. Self-understanding. Self-understanding is a crystallization of the previous 3 stages. It's a deep understanding of the dynamics and workings of our ego selves. People who have reached this stage have a thorough and multi-layered understanding of the origins and reasons why they think, feel, and behave the way they do. Not only have they explored their conscious ego, but they've also explored their unconscious mind to meet their shadow selves and other buried core wounds. 5. Self-love. Next is self-love, the stage where we are filled with compassion for ourselves and all that we've been through. As a lower world path, self-love is what happens when we tap into the fundamental nature of our heart and soul, love. When we love ourselves, we are fueled by a deep understanding of ourselves. 6. Self-transformation. In this stage, we begin to shed our old and limiting habits, perceptions, and compulsions that were created by the false self, ego, and begin to experience transformation. When we experience self-transformation, we enter a death and rebirth process that can feel uncomfortable and destabilizing at first. But ultimately, any change we undergo is liberating, In other words, we become more soul-centered instead of ego-centered, and we are more comfortable in our skin. Thanks to the previous 5 stages, we are able to make space for new growth to occur. Like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon, we feel more expanded, free, and grounded. 7. Self-mastery. As a culmination of stages 1 to 6, this stage is about reaping the rewards of a stable and well-adjusted ego. Self-mastery is self-explanatory. It means mastering the false self, or ego, but not with a tyrannical or domineering stance. Instead, mastering the false self is done with love and understanding. Instead of being slaves to our egos, we live from the heart and soul, and our egos are in service to the soul. When we experience self-mastery, our inner and outer worlds are balanced, i.e., we are spiritually integrated, and we become the kings or queens of our own middle worlds, everyday life, and lower worlds, inner life. We are self-contained, calm, perceptive, wise, compassionate, and light-hearted. 8. Self-transcendence. Next is self-transcendence, which is where we start entering the world of spirit, or the upper world. When we walk the path of self-transcendence, we are seeking to move beyond our limited egos and attachment to our souls, and rest in the deep spiritual oneness at the center of who we really are. Common self-transcendence paths and practices out there include meditation, yogic disciplines, mystical and higher consciousness traditions, Sufism, Gnosticism, Taoism, Buddhism, etc., self-inquiry, non-dual teachings, contemplation, and so forth. 9. Self-realization. At last, we come to self-realization, which is ultimately a gift of grace from life, spirit, or the divine. While we cannot achieve self-realization in the linear ego-based sense, we can prepare the soil of our inner garden, so to speak, to receive such a sacred gift. So how does self-realization occur? Self-realization occurs when we stop identifying with the limited ego, deepen into a soul-centered presence, and recognize ourselves as one and the same as the divine on a visceral level. Moving past a sense of me, mine, and I am, aka the inner stories fabricated by our illusory selves, we come to embody what is referred to as Christ consciousness, enlightenment, Buddhahood, non-dual awareness, and oneness. Other names for this energetic expansion and shift in awareness are as nirvana, heaven, moksha, unio mystica, samadhi, cosmic consciousness, and so on.